Yesterday, the Bears pulled off an absolute thriller against the Packers. It is wild card weekend, and they went ahead and they pulled it off. They came back from a 6-21 deficit in the second half, and honestly, their win was completely on the coaching staff. You can go ahead and say Caleb Williams had a great game, and he did. He ended up having a great second half, but I think that the credit needs to be given a lot to Ben Johnson. The first-time head coach ended up being one of the greatest play callers in the NFL this season, and here's why. So right here you can see the Green Bay Packers have pretty much everybody on the line. It is not a good look for something, say, I don't know, a screen, which is exactly what they're going to run out of this bunch formation over here. Now, what you're going to see is you're just going to have Luther Burton come back, and then you only have two DBs right here, so you can just block, and then all you have to do is beat the safety. And so that's pretty much exactly what's going to happen. This gain is going to be pretty significant. It's going to get them a first down, and just take a look at this. This screen ends up working out perfectly, and they get 12 yards out of it. And that's exactly what you want to see out of a play call like that. Now, this isn't just everything, though, and that's because you're going to see some other very good play calls here. This is actually the touchdown near the end of the game, the last touchdown of the game that seals the win for the Bears pretty much. And what you're going to see here is DJ Moore go out on a wheel, and then you're actually going to see a fake screen out here. And he's going to come out and he's going to fake the screen. And the way that the Packers adjust to this, now that they understand that the screen is such a big threat, especially in these kind of situations, is they're going to change the matchup to man-to-man. And so what you're actually going to watch is you're going to have the DBs completely bite down on this screen. Try to erase the screen immediately. And as you can see, they adjust it to man-to-man as soon as you have the movement come down here. They realize that they're in the same sort of bunch formation where they can run that kind of screen. And I just want you to look at this right here. This is obviously they're blocking here, and but then they see this route stop and then come back. And because that route comes back, they think that maybe there's a screen coming, and they actually bite immediately. Look at 24 right here. 24, immediately, he plants his feet in the ground, and his eyes are here. And then he realized nobody is coming to block. And as soon as he realizes that, he turns his body. It's too late. His hips were too far gone. And Caleb sees it immediately. He's going down here. That's just a Ben Johnson masterclass right there. He's wide open, and it's all because the players were coached pretty well by Green Bay, honestly, to go ahead and look at that screen. And Ben Johnson just knew the exact play to beat it. He knew that if he runs that play in that exact way, he calls it correctly. He goes ahead and says, hey, they're going to run man-to-man. They're going to bite down on the screen, so we should have somebody vertical wide open. Honestly, Colson Loveland, the tight end, was actually open here too, if you take a look. And it's just an incredible play call when especially you have two receivers wide open. And this ends up being a touchdown to win the game. And obviously we're off to a hot start. But I'm not finished yet because there's plenty of more amazing play calls by Ben Johnson if you look right here. Now here's another one right here, and you can watch this. The Packers did this all game, and honestly, Ben Johnson in the first half clearly had a hard time dealing with it. However, in the second half, he came up with a perfect scheme for this. Now this is a clip from the second half, and here's what happens. All right, you have these guys end up dropping back into coverage. You rush three. If you actually watch my Miami versus Ohio State video, that looks kind of familiar to you, where they try to compress all of the same rushers into the same area. So this entire half is all rushers, and then these linemen are kind of stuck doing nothing, and they have to adjust to this side to try and block. And so you're going to see Green Bay, if you watch the game, they do this a lot. And it's their way of trying to cope without Micah Parsons, is them trying to be able to get that pass rush, that trickiness, without having to just rely on one specific player. And so they're going to do this. Now, the thing is, Ben Johnson is completely ready for it, especially right here. You're going to see pretty much all of these routes go to the exact same side as well. And it also happens to be the exact same side where you're getting a lot of rushers. And now you have three wide receivers. And as you can see with this guy coming down, you have three wide receivers versus one two men. And so how are you supposed to cover this? Well, the answer, quite simply, is you don't, because you have three guys run to the same side. And now you also force this. This has to decide whether or not to cover Colson Loveland. The safety has to also decide whether or not he goes deeper, but he also gets kind of cooked by this move right here, and he has to go out here. And it's going to be a dime to Colson Loveland. But the other thing is, if he also wants, Caleb Williams has this wide open. He doesn't have his eyes there, but the reason why this player realizes that the ball is being thrown is because Caleb is looking directly at Colson Loveland, and so it becomes pretty obvious. But it doesn't matter because it's a great play call, and it's an absolute dime to Colston as well, and that's a huge play. What I want you to also look at is this very next play to Colson Loveland again. And you're going to see that actually the Packers come out in a very similar situation, except instead they think that the pressure can save them. So they're going to go an all-out blitz. But they still have the same guys on the line, essentially. And it's a very compact box, which generally tells them that they're going to be blitzing again. And Ben Johnson completely accounted for this. He completely figured that, oh yeah, they're probably going to either expect a run or they're going to try to bring pressure. So he's going to call this bootleg pass to left. And it's going to work out perfectly. Everybody is going to bite on this run. In fact, you're actually going to bring an extra blitzer down from the safety spot. And what that means is you're just going to leave right here this safety all by himself. And then you're going to watch Colson Loveland. Yeah, the same guy who caught the last pass. He's going to go and just run a crosser. And that crosser is obviously going to be wide open because everybody, and I mean everybody, is going to bite down on this play action right here. And you're going to have one-on-one right here, and it's going to be man coverage because the blitz doesn't allow for enough zones. And so this, like I said, play action, everybody goes to the left. It's going to be wide open to Colson Loveland. It's actually, and then Cole Kmet's going to be there to block. Unfortunately, he doesn't make the block, but that's just a really good play call in the situation, especially considering they all expect a run here on first down, especially after the big momentum play, just to try to keep the momentum going. And it's just a perfect scenario. And, you know, the blitz is not a terrible idea. Ben Johnson just diagnoses it perfectly. He knows exactly what to do as a head coach, especially coming straight out of the Lions offense, who obviously he made absolutely incredible. He's doing the same thing here with the Bears. Now, you can tell that Ben Johnson's clearly in his bag this game, and this is going to be the last clip that I'm going to show. But you're going to have a cover 3 look here. I mean, I feel like it's pretty blatantly obvious. This is going to be here, here, and then here. And then you're going to see just these three are going to drop back. This is actually going to be a flat, and then you're going to have this flat, so you're going to have these 4 zones in mid, and then you're going to have these 3 deep zones. And what that means is in cover 3, you're going to have that soft spot right around here where the safety currently is, because he's going to drop back heavily. And obviously, Ben Johnson's no idiot. He's going to be able to identify this. And so you're going to end up having a pretty perfect scheme to combat this. You're going to essentially bring you guys deep, and then you're going to have just a crosser that's going to go ahead and just sit in that exact zone that he needs to sit. So go ahead and take a look at this route concept. It's going to be perfectly executed. He gets past, and obviously this flat is going to sit here, and he actually has a threat to sit for because you have the running back coming out here. And so obviously, as these guys are just going to watch the eyes of the QB, they're not going to realize, because obviously you have the deep route that he could be looking at, they're not going to realize that they have somebody just poking right behind them, and you're just going to have the perfect route concept to beat cover 3. He's going to be wide open right here. Caleb is going to chuck this thing. This is actually a comeback route, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't change very much, because it's going to be right in the perfect spot for Caleb Williams to throw the dot, and it's going to be a huge gain. And basically, moral of the story, don't call cover 3 against Ben Johnson, because he diagnoses it perfectly every single time. Ben Johnson is if postseason was included in NFL honors, Ben Johnson may have made himself the runner-up, or not even the runner-up, may have made himself the number one candidate for Coach of the Year. Unfortunately, since it's not, it'll probably be one of my favorite coaches personally in the league right now, Liam Cohen, or it could be Mike Vrabel. Nonetheless, I do think that Ben Johnson's play calling is exactly what won the Bears this game. In case you didn't see it, the final score went to the Bears, and it was a very, very close game, and it was Ben Johnson. And Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams pulled it together, as well as the defense holding themselves very, very highly in the second half. And the Bears could be a contender with this coaching staff. Now, before I go, I always like to add this quickly at the very end of the video. I am just starting up, and obviously once I get a good number of subscribers, I'll probably stop begging for them. But for now, I'm at 43 as of the recording of this video, and I would really appreciate some more. And so if you like this video, want to see more content, especially as I improve, go ahead, hit that subscribe button below. Not only that, but there's a like button down there too that will help the algorithm push this video out to more curious football knowers. And if not, I understand. It's okay. Have a wonderful, blessed day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.